enter in your credit card. Nice. Welcome to HoodRichCarlton channel podcast edition. First episode. Very excited to do this. Been something that's in the works for a long time. There's a lot of good things. I have a lot of good people around me, a lot of good friends, a lot of people that have good information, and just a real perspective on things. And I think right now it's real important for people to be transparent and honest with not only how they're living their life, but with who they are and what they believe in. I think too many times nowadays, a lot of people just believe what they see on social media or what somebody else tells them without really buying in themselves. So my whole goal here with this is to bring you guys a real perspective because in life, there's only two things that you can really control. That's your effort and your attitude. And every day you have the choice to make it a great day or not. And that choice is always yours. Without further ado, welcome to the HoodRichCarlton podcast. My name is HoodRichCarlton. I have my boy Joel, Jay Sway. I call him my health guru. But I'll go ahead and let Joel introduce himself. Tell me where you're at, Joel. What you're going to be talking about today, and we'll dive into it from there. So welcome.
Man, thank you for having me. It's an honor, being on one of the early episodes, and yeah, I'm just a dude from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. But we can get into whatever we can get into, health related.
Yeah. So for those of you guys that a lot of you may know Joel. For the people that live in Cedar Rapids, Joel. My brother and Joel they are best friends. And I met him too many years ago, probably 15 years ago. He was actually a model. I was a model as well. In a past life, not now. But Joel really, I don't remember when it was. You could probably tell the viewers, Joel, but you really got on this health kick. And you really changed your life dramatically. So before we get into that, why don't you just tell us a little bit about, before you decided to make that health kick, and what you were doing, where you went to school, and kind of how all those things tied into you being able to make the transition that you did to where you're at now.
That's a very, very okay. I see. Yeah. Okay. So, grew up.
Let's start with college, because I know you doing this in college, the health thing.
Wasn't really on the health thing in college.
Mm-hmm.
Body falling apart in college. I had foot issues. The back started acting up. I was active. I was in shape. I played football, basketball, and tennis all through high school.
Okay. So what position?
Which sport?
Well, I'm a football guy, so obviously, we'll start with football.
Okay, so yeah, defensive end, strong side. There was many plays I went up against two people that were 250, 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I did decent,
Yeah.
Maybe 10 sacks, 40, 50 tackles, We weren't really tackles in our scheme as a defensive lineman. So,
what school did you go to?
Luther College.
Luther College, okay. Yeah, nice. My brother, you guys actually went to school together. Tell me a little bit about that. How did I used to think, like, how did that happen?
We went to Luther to play football and get an education. And Yeah, burp.
Did you major in what was your did you major in like health sciences or is that just something that you picked up?
I majored in business management and communications.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't pay to learn anything about health.
Sure. That was
Sure.
something you did on your own that you were interested in, it sounds like.
Yeah. So
Nice.
yeah. Yep. So
So you said your body was falling apart,
I
you knew you
uh,
needed to make some kind of change, right?
had to make some changes.
Yeah.
Wasn't wasn't anything, it wasn't anything that it wasn't my body wasn't falling apart because I wasn't in shape. It
Mhm.
was falling apart because at a cellular level, I had never really taken care of my cells and
Mm.
self like, and
Explain
that's why.
that explain that a little bit more. What you mean
So,
by that?
so like I had never really, I had always been doing for others. Um, so you don't. Lots of the times in our life, we're not really taught to care for ourselves like we should.
Agreed.
And
I agree with that.
yeah, so you got to college and it's just even more demand, so you have less time. And looking back on it, a lot of me not caring for myself had to do with what I was putting in, not just my mind, but physically in my body, and that's where the
Mm.
health.
Mm. Man, I think a lot of people could probably take a lot from what you just said there, Joel. Um, I could think back to when I was in college because I was a Division I athlete. I was at Northern Iowa. I played football there. Finished up at Concordia, and when you're young, you can go out and drink 6 4 Locos and a handle of vodka, and drink Taco Bell and eat McDonald's, and then wake up the next day and do it again, like
Man,
it's nothing. Um, but as you get older, you start to realize that doesn't really work out, right? You start to realize, man, if I go out and get this drunk, man, it takes me, 2 days to recover, 3 days, 5 days.
man,
It gets harder.
say that. Me and yeah, me and Albert were going out probably, and I'm not gonna say that this drinking was the only thing that contributed to my cells falling apart, but we
Hmm.
were probably drinking, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's funny that you say that too, Joel, because I'm big on correlations, right? And if you're drinking like that in college, 3 4 days a week, i- it's safe to say that you probably are having 3 4 drinks a week as an adult as well.
not
Would
in
you
my
say,
case.
not in your case, but I'm saying for I shouldn't say for the majority, but um for a lot of people who
Yeah,
drink often, you know, Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? As a youngin, you probably
yeah,
are going to have that many drinks as an adult too. If you continue to live that lifestyle, is my point.
yeah, yeah.
How 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 did you break out of that? Because I think a lot of people, may not want to give up drinking or don't know how to give it up. Have you given it up completely?
Uh, yeah, unless it's like a celebratory thing,
Hmm.
once in every eons, or how
In
does that saying?
moderation.
Yeah. So like, and it makes a difference what you're drinking too. I would only drink tequila or wine or something made from grapes like brandy.
Hmm.
Or but
No Bush Light.
I would not drink GMO. Uh, yeah, but
Okay.
essentially, I mean, essentially, we're all even alcoholics because we're eating so much. But
Mm.
what was What was the question again?
So we were just really talking more about like when in college, just your sales and the drinking and how you wanted to trickle into like eat to
Right.
wanting to do better for yourself.
Okay, so
Hmm.
in college, I went to college. I was, still in shape. My body wasn't. I didn't have the foot or the back problem, which developed, a year into college.
Hmm.
Um, so what happened was my foot, my second metatarsal, the
Yeah,
longest toe,
yeah.
the joint started falling apart. It started crumbling,
Ah,
and
sounds painful.
yeah, it was painful. It throbbed every night after practice, and it was just something that I couldn't even focus on my homework. Like, and I'm the type of guy like I gotta go 100%. So like, it
Sure.
really hurt,
Yeah.
have this situation. Like, this was my first time. I couldn't like go out there indefinitely. I was like, everything was like, we don't know if you're gonna be the same.
Mm. So this was the first time that you had, let's call it an injury or a setback that really sat you down.
Sat me down. I was in a cast for months
Mm.
on crutches in college. Albert really looked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
That's
couldn't carry
awesome.
my cafeteria and shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, Joel. That's I can relate to that a lot. When I was in college, when I went to my second school, I was there for, I mean, let's call it 2 weeks. I had transferred from Northern Iowa. I was ready to, you know, eh, to make a long story short, I thought I knew it all when I was at Northern Iowa. I thought I was the man. I ran my mouth. I thought I was too good. I felt like I didn't have to listen to anybody. And everybody used to say, man, that stuff's going to catch up with you, AC. And I didn't know what that meant. When I went to Concordia, I transferred. I was doing good. I was last string. There was a guy named Trey Spears. He was a senior running back. I had 2 years left, so I was waiting my turn, and I was returning a kick, and I blew my knee out. And I think that was the first time that ACL, MCL, meniscus, chipped my femur. I really had to sit. I had to sit down as well, and that's a really humbling. That's a really humbling thing for sure.
tough from running a 4.6. You know what I'm saying? In your case, probably faster.
4.3.
To yeah,
Four
to
three nine, or 4.41. We'll call it 4.41.
hey, okay,
4.41.
okay.
We weren't a slouch, but we're not talking about me. That's later. We'll get to the sports later.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Got
so with your health, so your foot, you sat you down. Did the foot thing really get you to decide like, man, I got to start doing something better with my body?
no,
Oh.
no. I was still stuck. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
the foot thing, it took me a while to realize I needed to deal with
Mm-hmm.
like myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to get back to football.
Right.
I was trying to get back to football. So,
Yeah.
and football and sports is not what caused my cells to break down in this joint.
That's what I was gonna ask too. Do you think that that was the case? And you said no.
Nope,
Explain that.
nope. Uh, so I'm 18. I'm not 36. I'm not 42. I'm not 50. I'm not 60. I'm 18.
Hmm.
Like, I don't care how much I could have ran and jumped and how many 250-pound linemen I could have put. I'm 18. My body, I refuse to accept that bodies are supposed to fall apart at
I
this
agree.
age.
Yeah.
Now, looking back on it, it had everything to do with me taking care of my cells.
Yeah.